Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 201. I'm your host, Sam Godsey, today. And with me, as always, is Tanner Dislin. Tanner, how you feeling tonight?
Tell you what, Sam, I'm feeling pretty good. We got a nice slate of college basketball as we're recording this on Tuesday. However, it has not been a all that good of a postseason for a Vikings fan. I got to be honest. It's been tough, and obviously we will get to why here in a bit. But we have our Super Bowl set.
Yeah. The conference championship weekend wrapped up on Sunday. We will be hopping into that, but there's been some awesome college basketball. It's becoming an interesting couple weeks for us because the NFL is dying. College hoops, thank God, is heating up because we could care less about the NBA. So it's going to be definitely an interesting couple weeks here. But we talked about that and so much more on episode 201. Tanner, where do you want to
I mean,
start?
we got to start with the biggest news in the sports world, right?
Hit me with it.
The NFL is king, and we have our Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We had a conference championship weekend, and no matter how much things change, Sam, they stay the same. And we have the Seahawks and the Patriots in the Super Bowl. A rematch, obviously, of the 2014, I think, Super Bowl or 2014 season. Maybe the Super Bowl happened in 2015 with the very famous Malcolm Butler interception in the end zone. We're going to see that. If you haven't already, see that replayed 6 bajillion times.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we have our Super Bowl, and it's just it doesn't matter who's there, doesn't matter the same, like the winning franchises, I guess, just make the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Yep. So we have our Super Bowl set, but let's talk about how those teams got there. Patriots defeated the Bo Nixless Broncos
Bo Nixless.
10-7. Tara, I don't know about you, but this game was an absolute snooze fest. Drake May was not impressive. I have a question for you though. Come on, CBS Sports, work with me here. I'm not. Um, my question to you, Tanner, is have the Patriots had one of the easiest routes to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it. Now this is where it gets tricky because yeah, I mean they've had a fairly easy route. The AFC this year in particular was just pretty poor
Yeah.
compared to the NFC. Now obviously anything can happen in one game, but I think at least when I looked at the playoffs, I thought the NFC was going to be heavily favored in whatever Super Bowl they played. Maybe not heavily, but favored.
Yeah.
In whatever matchup was in the Super Bowl. But Drake May, in particular, played some really good defenses. They ran into the same team over and over again. Now, the Chargers were interesting because the Chargers in the playoffs are in their own category. But that's a game, obviously, where quite literally it didn't matter what Drake May would have done because they were going to win that game because the Chargers scored 0 points.
Yeah.
Zero, none, nada, not a single point against the Patriots. Skunked. So that one, the Patriots drastically outplay. Oh, I guess they scored three. They scored three. Sorry. For some reason I thought they scored 0, but they did score 3. But still,
Yeah.
the Patriots offense wasn't particularly impressive. They only scored 16. That's how the story goes. But the Chargers defense up this year had been pretty good. Then they got to go and they play the Texans, and Drake May was very turnover prone.
Yeah.
Had those fumbles we talked about, but made a few key passes here and there. And obviously, they ended up winning that game. Texans offense was brutal. CJ Stroud was brutal. Go to the conference, obviously you play the Broncos without Bo Nix. So they Drake May played a lot of very good defenses. I would not say Drake May played his best football against those really good defenses. But the Patriots defense has been unreal.
Yeah.
Bo Nixless Broncos. The Texans, like CJ Stroud looked terrible, but like I tell you, my takeaway from that, the whole CJ Stroud thing, yeah, sure. He put together some really good games this year. The Patriots defense was incredible that
Yeah.
year, Sam. So like
Yeah.
it's hard for me. I think Drake May is very good. He's a very good young quarterback in the NFL. I don't think he's been played all that great in the postseason. He's played some really good defenses. It's just that defense is something special. They're really good. And yeah, they've had a little bit of a lucky path against teams that are struggle on offense or had their star quarterback get hurt. And
Yeah.
then when they're up by 3, then in a team that already has trouble moving the ball due to a backup quarterback gets hit with the game gets hit with a blizzard
Yeah.
where no one can see more than 5 feet in front of them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I would say it is. And like I do it. Yeah, I would say it is one of the easier roads I've seen um, to make the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I would agree, but that doesn't take away from, like you said, how good that Patriots defense has been. And then Drake May just kind of complimenting that by doing just enough. He, like you kind of mentioned, he hadn't been anything really crazy good, just consistent, nothing too crazy. But do you have anything else on this game?
I think there's a bigger conversation to be had here. Sam.
What's that?
This is about the second half
Yeah.
because, well, like I mentioned, there were 3 points scored in the second half. Now there were only 14 in the first half, so it's not like
Yeah.
we were witnessing a scoring fest until the second half when the snow started. But a team that already has a uphill battle offensively with a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
Against a very good defense. Then you add in the snow, and I don't think anyone scored since the snow. I think the Patriots field goal was before the snow really started.
Mm-hmm.
Once the snow started, I don't think a single point was scored.
Yeah.
That kind of bothers me. And this is not an anti-Patriot take. This is not a Patriot get all the luck take. It's just a general take. I hate to see major conference championship games with a trip to the Super Bowl on the line be played in conditions where you cannot see 5 feet in front of you. That's not football. What we watched was not football. I hate it. I'm sorry. You can call me anti-football. You can call me anti-this. I hated it. And I don't know. And even in the first half, like when Jarrett Stidham could see, he threw a dime down the field. He got a huge play, led him to a touchdown. Obviously, he had the boneheaded play, which was bad.
Yeah.
But then once you make that mistake, the snow starts. You're done. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
And I think that's just I don't really get the logic. I get it. The warm weather team should win more games than will be in a dome. This, that, and the other. There's a reason the Super Bowl is not played in places where snow can happen because you hate having such a big game decided in such poor conditions. I don't really understand why we do it for the conference championship games. And I hated the fact that game was played in the snow. I hate meaningful football played in the snow. I do. I'm just going to say it.
So are you Team Dome?
I am Team Dome.
All Dome?
100% Team Dome.
Interesting.
It's the best football. It allows for the athletes to win. Like, it's not even the fact that it was a boring game. I'm an Iowa fan. I love boring football. It's the fact that one team that was fighting an uphill battle. Now, this does not excuse Sean Payton because we may be going to overtime if Sean Payton took the points in the first half like he should have. That is 100% a good argument, and I if you want to say the Broncos deserve to lose because their head coach made a boneheaded call, I might be with you on that. But the fact that nobody can see 5 feet in front of them, the lines can't be seen by anybody. The fact that that is the conditions we're deciding who's going to win the conference championship is crazy to me. Like if that was the Super Bowl, we'd all be like, "Man, this sucks." Yeah, I agree. That's why the Super Bowl's never played there. Neither should the conference championship. You can convince me on a regular season game. That's fine. You know, it's fun playing in the snow, whatever. Playoff games should not be played in conditions where you cannot see 5 feet in front. Shouldn't be.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, the importance sucks with that condition, but yeah, I mean, I think there was a lot more than just the weather having an impact. I think it does take away from the quality we saw, but I think it would have been even a
Now,
worse
now,
game.
now that's what my point with this is not a. It's not a the Patriots don't deserve to be here. It's not a the Broncos got screwed because like we said, the Patriots defense was incredible. Sean Payton should have taken the points, and maybe we're having a different
Yeah.
conversation. And that not to mention that he decided to go for it and then drew up one of the worst play calls I've ever seen for a fourth and short situation like that with a backup quarterback. And and there were multiple missed kicks before the snow started. I
Yeah.
get this is not to say to invalidate the results of this game. It's more of the entire second half was essentially for nothing because it was just you're going to take the ball, you can't move it because no one can see. You can't move it because no one can see. You can't move it because no one can see. And that just sucks. It's not even from a spectator standpoint. I just think that sucks that that is how we're deciding. That games major games that decide obviously who's going to the Super Bowl are played in that I think sucks.
Interesting.
I hate and it is kind of a pet peeve of mine when someone says it like what looks at that game we just saw and they're like, now this is what real football is. No, it's not. Shut up.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It
Yeah,
is.
I disagree with that statement for sure. That this is if someone looks at this game and goes, hell yeah, this is how I want the um one of the representatives of the NFL to make the Super Bowl now. I agree with that, but whether whether we like it or not is a part of a game. I mean, we can take a I know you're not saying this and that, but when you when those weather events happen, you have to take a look and adjust. And I don't think either. I mean, these rushing attacks were god awful when you can't see 5 feet in front of you. Um, you got to rely on your rushing attack, and they were almost non existent. But again, that can also play into the fact that no one's going to throw the ball in this weather. So let's just pack the box. And so I see where you're coming from for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to portray my point because it's good because like obviously I don't think there's someone on earth who hates Sean Payton more than I do. He was abysmal and he deserves every bit of blame for this loss. I just I just don't think, yeah, like I said, I just don't think a 4 quarter game should be essentially cut down to 2 quarters because of a weather phenomena that we that we could fairly easily cut out and make the game a fourth quarter. Now, who knows? 2 more quarters of Jarrett Stidham, maybe he fumbles the ball 3 more times
Yeah.
because he's not a starting NFL quarterback. That's maybe that happens, but I would like to see that and leave that game thinking, wow, the Patriots were the much better team in this game,
Yeah.
rather than leave it and be like, Patriots were up 3 when the snow started, and then no one can do anything, and
Mm-hmm.
then the game's over.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah. That, no arguments here. But let's move on. to this matchup between the Rams and the Seahawks. Seahawks win 31-27. And my question to you, Tanner, I think you know where this question is going. How much how mad are you at the Vikings front office for letting
Oh,
Sam Darnold
horribly
go?
and very mad. I'm dare I say irate. Now this gets to another pet peeve of mine because I might be on here talking about how I didn't want Sam Darnold for the long term, and that's fine. I didn't. Um, Me saying I didn't want to re-sign Sam Darnold for the long term as a Vikings quarterback does not preclude me from saying, "Hey, dumbasses, you should have signed Sam Darnold to the long term." I don't get paid to make those decisions, so I can say whatever the hell I want as a fan, and then still hold those who do get paid to make those decisions responsible for making the wrong decision.
Yeah.
Like I hate that when I say, like when a fan says something criticizing front office, then they agreed with that decision. It's like, yeah, because I don't get paid to make that
Yeah.
decision. Like it doesn't matter what I think. I'm just some idiot who's talking into a mic.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm really mad. Like he was tremendous in this game, and like there's a real argument about the cap space saved. What I don't care. Like the fact of the matter is, last year, yeah, he didn't play great in the big games, but he was fantastic the rest of the season. And look, most quarterbacks get better in a second year, unless your name is CJ Stroud. You get
Yeah.
better in a second year in an offense with a coach, with the personnel, with all like
Yeah.
you just get better. So like there's no reason to think that he would have just like every time he just would have, you know, fallen into the old Sam Darnold ways if he 3-4 years down the road with the same team, same coach, all that stuff. Like I'm really mad. This sucks. Like this absolutely sucks that we sit here with the Vikings quarterback last year, who again in week 18 played for the 1 seed, lost a game he won this year, and then played against the Rams in the playoffs and lost a game he won this year. It sucks. It absolutely
Yeah.
sucks. And Sam Darnold was absolutely tremendous in this game. For all that stuff we talked about, what was against the 49ers when he didn't really do much and that defense ran wild, Sam Darnold was absolutely magnificent in this football game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's time to talk about just the turnaround of a career. Sam Darnold has had obviously had those 3 years with the Jets. I mean, he had 17 tuds, 15 interceptions his first year, 19 and 13 second year for the Jets, then 9 and 11 in 2020. Then he went to Panthers, didn't look good, 9 for 13, 9 and 13, 7 and 3. Got a short stint in 23 with the 49ers, didn't really play a whole lot, and then joined your Vikings, 35 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and with the Seahawks, throwing 4,000 yards this season, 25 and 14 picks. I mean, this turnaround for Sam Darnold isn't getting talked. A lot of people are focusing on the fact, oh my God, the Vikings let him go. I think we need to respect the fact that it wasn't just from this year to last year. The turnaround from his first year being kind of considered one of the bigger busts in recent history. This dude's incredible. I
Yeah.
love seeing him win. I know as a Vikings fan, you probably think otherwise, but I do want to give a little bit. While of course the Vikings front office is getting slack, and you're gonna get slack if quarterback you excuse me starting quarterback you had last year excels the next place he goes. You took a you took JJ McCarthy with what pick? 10th or ninth? 10th pick. You can't just
Yep,
bail
you're
after
absolutely
one
right.
season.
Yeah.
So while it sucks, absolutely, I can't really blame the
Yep.
Vikings front
Yep.
office.
You know, you're absolutely right. You invested the high draft pick. You weren't when you weren't sure what you had. Um, it would have been really, really crappy if they just signed Sam Darnold and JJ never got to play.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right about that. And that's you're right. But at the end of the day, and look, I don't really want to. I'm not really buying the stuff where like because the Seahawks are a tremendous team. I'm not really buying the stuff where they're like, oh, well, the Vikings wouldn't have been good with Darnold because the Seahawks are just that much better of a team.
Yeah, I don't agree
The,
with that.
the Seahawks and the Vikings played last year, so
Yeah.
and the Vikings won in Seattle
Yeah.
with
Yep.
Darnold as their quarterback, and he was very good in that game.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah, I don't buy that. I think this Vikings team with Sam Darnold would have been very good. And yeah, obviously the JJ stuff. I totally agree. It would have sucked to have JJ just sitting there and not knowing. And then obviously every mistake Darnold made, if he had a bad game, then it would be like, I'm glad we paid this guy. Well, we had
Hmm.
JJ waiting in the that's always gonna happen. But at the end of the day, it's a really, really bad look for the organization. If I was an owner, I'd be furious. If I'm obviously as a fan, you're really angry, and it's just I don't. I'm. Not, it's not one of those where I'm not happy to see him succeed because you could, like you said, it's he was a high draft pick, all the expectations in the world, went to two dumpster fires, was told he was a bust, had to take remember he signed with San Francisco knowing he was going to be the backup.
Yeah.
He signed with Minnesota after they had drafted, or may have been right before they drafted JJ. Um, and
Yeah. He was kind of,
like
if
yeah, with remember JJ got
it,
injured
it
in the
really wasn't a
preseason
plan that he was gonna play for the uh the Vikings.
yeah, or if so, it would have been, hey, we're probably going to play you the first 5 6 weeks,
Hmm.
and once McCarthy's ready, we'll put him. And he took that. Like he was
Yeah.
willing to take backup or not fully guaranteed starting jobs to prove himself, and it's ended up getting paid in 1 year, and he's in the Super Bowls, and that's a pretty awesome career story.
Yeah.
You can tell what it means to him. I'm so happy for him, because yeah, I mean it's he obviously keeps getting jobs, so I guess it's not necessarily that people don't believe in him, but it's got to feel good to show everyone and give your past teams a little bit of a
Yeah.
middle finger and be like, I could play. It wasn't me that was the problem, and I'm not a bust. I'm in the Super
Yeah.
Bowl, so
Yeah. And
that's great for him.
this brings up something I've kind of always thought. I This is gonna sound pretty obvious, but I think if I'm a top prospect or a quarterback, especially, I'd rather not be a top five, top eight pick. I'd rather slide into that middle tier where I actually have a chance and it doesn't land all on the shoulders of
Mm,
me and my performance. I think that you can apply that to the same Darnold in the Jets and the Panthers situation. Like he was gonna lose. Like that, those two teams were
it's
awful.
such a catch-22.
Yeah.
Cam Ward this year, he was so tremendous promise.
Yeah.
That team's so bad.
Yeah.
And and then you had people like JJ McCarthy who like, hey, the team's not all that bad. They have weapons everywhere, and he
Mm-hmm.
comes in and he wasn't one of the top three quarterbacks
Yeah.
picked, and he really struggles to start his career. And it's like, oh, like that catch-22 is
Yeah.
insane. But yeah, I mean it's you even say so with Baker. I mean,
Yeah.
he gets
Well,
thrown away.
that's just a
Baker,
wild career arc.
the thing about Baker is Darnold was screwed over in the sense that the organizations he played for were terrible. Baker was screwed over in the fact that he played well for the franchise that drafted him, and they just inexplicably cast him to the side for no
Yeah.
reason. For obviously someone who,
I mean, is that one of the worst?
it
That has to be up there with one of the. Now,
for my
it's
money,
not like they ditched like top like a Josh Allen. I'm not saying Baker, but
it's not good.
it's not good.
It's now the thing is obviously Baker's never like that's what obviously because look, it's kind of comparing it to the recent Minnesota with Darnold.
Yeah.
Like, Baker hasn't reached the Super Bowl like Darnold has, so
Yeah.
it's probably not as what's the word sour for fans.
Yeah.
But like the plan was always to go to JJ. He got hurt, whatever. Like this was just out of nowhere. It's like the Browns are training for Deshaun Watson, and Baker Mayfield was traded to the Panthers? What?
Yeah.
Like what? Out of nowhere. Out of
Yeah.
complete nowhere. He won a playoff game against Pittsburgh, mind you.
Yeah.
Like a divisional rival you never beat. He won a playoff game against them. He was the heart and soul of that city, a gritty city, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
was just cast aside.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, Seahawks are rolling. That connection between Darnold and Smith and Jigba is one of the best in the
That's
NFL.
what I wanted to talk about next.
Unreal.
Because Jackson, Smith, and Jigba. Now, for all of us who watched quite possibly the greatest wide receiving core ever assembled on Ohio State that year, knew that he was good. But I'm not sure.
All right.
We're having some different. Our quad box on our TV here just turned into almost like when you're at a bar and there's like 4 TVs showing one game. So the quad box lines are still there, but they're all showing one game. It's really bizarre. But anyway, Jackson Smith and Jigba was good. He's the first round draft pick.
Yeah.
If anyone tells you they saw this coming, they're lying straight to your face. He is
Yeah. He's a stud.
Unbelievable. And I actually saw something. Some people have jumped on an early candidate to be next year's Jackson Smith and Jigba. And to be honest with you, I kind of like it.
And who's that?
So it's it's coming from a team who has 2 good wide receivers. One is clearly the main guy. That guy is a physical specimen, just jacked out of his mind, fantastic wide receiver, but has severe off-field issues that seemingly dragging the whole team down, that could be moved on from this offseason.
Okay.
That, of course, being DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And A.J. Brown.
Hmm.
And if they move A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, who is uber talented,
yeah,
by the way, former Heisman Trophy winner, incredibly talented.
Yeah.
Could he be a breakout option? Obviously, we're not much of a fantasy podcast, but just keep them.
Yeah.
They're there. Obviously, there's no guarantee the Eagles move off of A.J. Brown. Writing seems to be on the wall.
Yeah.
But
it'll be interesting.
A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf seem to be fairly similar.
Yeah.
And there's a younger wide receiver, that's wide receiver 2 behind them, who's uber talented, that might benefit from
the team. Absolutely. But let's take a look at this other side. Is that the last game we see from Matthew Stafford?
I sure hope not.
Surely not.
Like, I think I maybe even seen this on. I think it might have been part of my take, but he was just like, "This is not an Aaron Rodgers where his skills are, or Philip Rivers
rapidly diminishing,
or where Drew Brees, where you're like, ooh,
yeah, this hurts to watch.
Hurts to watch. You're a legend, but hang it up, dude. I mean, this guy's he had an unbelievable season. He should win MVP, whether or not he does. I mean, this playoff stuff shouldn't play into it, but I mean, Matt Stafford was tremendous these playoffs. As good as Darnold was, Stafford might have somehow been better in this game. But he just not enough to get it done. The Rams secondary really struggled. I question. I'm not some defensive mastermind. And I understand, and I know, like, just looking at this and being said, hey, someone covered Jackson Smith and Jigba is much easier said than done. Because there's a whole other side who gets paid a lot of money to make sure Jackson Smith and Jigba is open, and they scheme stuff. But like, seemed like that may have been a bigger priority stopping him than it was.
Yeah.
Because he was always open. Just like, it'd be one thing if he just mossing people and making incredible catches in coverage. It's not really what happened. He was just open in the zone and finding, like, I question the defensive philosophy from the Rams there, but I don't think their secondary played all that well. Their pass rush is really good. I thought their pass rush was okay. They stopped the run fairly decently as well. It was quite literally, I think the secondary got torched, and just, at the end of the day, it's not enough plays to win the game.
Yeah.
Stafford was incredible.
Yeah.
So is
Absolutely.
Puka Nakua, by the way. If we're giving so much to Njigba,
Yeah.
Nakua obviously was incredible. Puka Nakua. Just, he is the most, what's the word? Because I don't think underrated is the right word. Because if you ask anyone who follow or watches the NFL, they'd be like, yeah, Jackson or Puka Nakua is really good. Maybe under talked about,
Yeah.
under discussed. Because I mean, he's incredible, just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Absolutely. But anything on the conference side of things?
I mean, of everything the Patriots Broncos game wasn't, this game was.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was so fun. What a tremendous football game. But I hope we didn't see the last of Matt Stafford. He's still playing at the top of his game. But
Yeah.
Seattle's going moving on, man. Crazy
Yeah.
times.
Absolutely. But outside of the realm of games, we got some more head coaches announced. The Bills. We
Yeah,
talked about Sean McDermott let go. They hire within. Um, they hire their offensive coordinator as their new head coach. Interesting
very.
there, considering the whole thing was coaching. Um,
Some interesting, by the way. I don't know if you saw who they're looking at for their defensive coordinator.
mm-mm.
College football fans. So obviously Joe Brady,
Yeah.
LSU offensive coordinator, the year, the Joe Burrow year,
Yep.
and I think the favorite for their defensive coordinator right now, they're looking at Jim Leonard, longtime Wisconsin defensive coordinator when their
Interesting.
defenses were really good. So they could have a um, college coordinator coaching staff, which could be pretty fun.
Interesting. Steelers found the Tomlin replacement. In another Mike McCarthy makes his return to head coaching for the Steelers again. Interesting.
I'm not gonna offer any unique perspective on this because what I think and what my reaction was the same as everyone else's. But like, really,
Yeah. Yeah.
really, the best tweet was it was like, so the Steelers replaced a an air quote old fashioned coach who had success in the late 2000 or in the 2000s but has gone stale and nothing since, and they hired a old fashioned head coach who won a Super Bowl in the 2000s, and the relationship went stale and has won nothing since.
Yeah.
I saw some specifics on, because he's an offensive head coach, Mike McCarthy is,
Mm-hmm.
um, comparing the couple years of offenses under him and then after he left. The Packers were a middling offense when his last couple of years. Then the first couple of years LaFleur took over with basically the same personnel. They were top five.
Yeah.
And then they were the Cowboys were, I think they were top three before he took over. He took over, they were middling,
Yeah.
and then this year under Schottenheimer they were top five, I think. So I question it. I question it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely interesting. The Titans building a little bit of a nice staff. Hired Brian Dable as their next OC under Robert Salah. Um, I think we talked about the Ravens hiring Jesse Minter as their head
Yep, it
coach.
happened like the day we recorded
Yeah, something like that.
last week.
So that's kind of where things sit. And the Broncos OC opened as of an hour ago. They fired their OC Joe Lombardi 2 days after that miserable performance. So it's definitely an interesting time for NFL coaches and all the opportunities out there. But where else should we go, Tim?
Couple things we can talk about. I think because there were some big moves, I guess, at this point. It's a couple weeks ago in MLB
Yeah.
that
Let's
we
talk
never
about it.
talked about, like
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker.
Yeah.
It was the big one going to the Dodgers, and
Who would have thought?
of course, everyone,
The worst.
the world lit on fire, and rightfully so. My question is this, Sam, because I'm frustrated by it. Now, we've talked about the salary cap
Yeah.
before, so I don't want to get too far into that. But my question is, why? Because we had another major sport go through a similar super team phase
Yeah.
recently in the NBA. Now we're on the other side of that phase, thank goodness. But when the Warriors
Yep.
signed Kevin Durant in addition to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson
Yeah.
and all of them, why was that conversation not the sport is broken, this needs to change, the other teams can't compete? And why was it Kevin Durant's a snake, you suck, how could you do this, join the team? Now in baseball, because I understand the deferrals and stuff, that kind of plays with
Yeah.
the rules a little bit.
100%.
But when Kyle Tucker signs with the Dodgers, the conversation is not what a snake, Kyle Tucker's so soft,
True.
this is such a snake move. Conversation is the sport is broken and everything needs to change. Now, I do think some things need to change, but my takeaway from this was not the dot. Like I hate. Well, it was I hate the Dodgers and the fact that I want them to lose.
Yeah.
But my anger was 100% towards Kyle Tucker because I thought it was a cupcake snake move.
Yeah.
To go join the defending champions.
Yeah.
And I think I think any major free agent who signs with the Dodgers, Edwin Diaz, that's a snake move to go go sign with the defending champions. I think that is a snake move, and I think all of those moves should be viewed the same as Kevin Durant. The sport was not over. Not everything needed to collapse and come crumbling down, but the entire world united in the fact that that was a snake move. It's now the world versus the Warriors.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And it sucks that this happened. They've built an absolute machine that players, I can understand why players want to play. You get paid a lot of money and you're pretty much guaranteed to win a title.
Yeah.
I get it. But that should be viewed the same as the Kevin Durant thing about the Warriors, the fact that all of them are snakes and they should be treated as such by fans, by opposing players, like all of that stuff. And I don't know why that's not kept the same.
Yeah. I mean, I've never thought about it like that. Obviously, I'm not super in depth with the MLB, as y'all know. I think where things differ is how Kevin Durant did it. Based on situation, he just lost to him, blew
you're right.
3-1 lead. I think that does impact it a little bit, but I agree.
But it's just like,
why aren't we considering this a snake move? Instead, we're bitching about how
the entirety of the blame is on the system, on the big market, instead of being like, hey, scumbag, that sucks that you signed with the defending champions. That's a scumbag move.
Is the system majorly flawed? Absolutely. I'm not arguing that. But
sitting here saying the system's perfect. It's not. But yeah, it sucks. Like joining the defendant, like that is a snake move. You should be viewed as you should get booed everywhere you go. You should get called soft, get called a cupcake, get called all that because that sucks. That sucks.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you kind of mentioned how Kevin Durant joined the Warriors and how we've seen Edwin Diaz and Kyle Tucker join the Dodgers this offseason. I think it's a little different now. Correct me if I'm wrong. It seems that was because the Warriors built their team, whether you think they built it from the draft for the most part. And then Kevin Durant decided I'll
Mhm.
go join them. Again, correct me, but it seems this is a repeating process almost every offseason.
This one's weird because a lot of the Dodgers really good players are from trades. They got Mookie Betts from a trade.
Okay.
Um
Was
I guess
Shohei?
no, Shohei was free agency. Freddie Freeman was free agency. Um yeah, I guess when I say a lot of them, it's really just Mookie.
Yeah.
Um because Otani was free agency, Freeman was free agency. Will Smith is homegrown, their catcher.
Yeah.
Max Muncy's homegrown, but he's not one of their elite
Yeah.
players. And now Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, like
Mm-hmm.
those were that's in their outfield, and Kyle Tucker was a free agent signing. But I guess my point, because the nuances are obviously different. The sport's different.
Yeah.
X amount of money for X amount of roster spots, and that's when you can afford it under the cap in the NBA, and
Yeah.
you can't.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no cap. I get that. My main point was the fact that yes, the system sucks, and it does like the Dodgers being able to do this sucks for the sport, and I hate that. I hate that the MLB right now is saying go watch your favorite players play baseball. But if they don't play for the Dodgers and if you don't live in LA, your team's not going to win.
Yeah.
That sucks. That
Yeah.
absolutely sucks. But at the same time, the entirety of the blame here getting put on the league and how this is possible and not on the person being the player being like, I want to play on the team that just won it all, to me is like, why are we doing it?
And dominate like in a fashion where you knew kind of from the jump.
Yeah, obviously it got dicey with the World Series,
Yeah.
but they waltzed through the National League, very easily.
Yeah.
And throughout the entirety of the year, it's just like, who's going to be the Dodgers? Who's going to be the Dodgers?
Mm-hmm.
Who's the Dodgers? And then we thought, oh, maybe the Blue Jays can. Turns out they can't. And then that's how we got here. So it's frustrating. And to see this and everyone having think pieces on what the MLB is broken, they need to change everything, and there's going to be a lockout, which there most certainly will be a lockout. But
Yeah.
and how everything needs to change all this stuff. It's just like, dude, that was a scumbag move and a snake move by a player, and it should be treated as such.
Yeah. 100% agree. Any other major news that we might missed? I know those were the big ones, but anybody else?
So there were a few. So actually, my New York Mets
Boba Shett
had a pretty good fallout from the Kyle Tucker stuff, because we were, I guess, the team that came in second. We had the competing offer. Immediately went and signed Bo Bichette from the Blue Jays, guy who hit the 3-run home run off Shohei Otani in Game 7. And then they went out and traded for Luis Robert Jr. from the White Sox, who for basically nothing. And then they went out and traded for Freddie Peralta from the Brewers.
Yeah.
So they got a frontline starter, a center fielder with immense upside. Whether or not we realize that upside is something to be seen.
Yeah.
But an uber talented player who has struggled recently in the hellhole that is the South Side of Chicago, and then a frontline starter, and then a premier infield bat in Bo Bichette. So
yeah,
I think by all indications, obviously, because last year was one of the most disappointing collapses of all time. This year's Mets team should be better. It looks like they're better. They have a better pitching rotation. Looks like they have much better defensively, and then replacing Pete Alonso with Bichette, Polanco, and some of those other guys I mentioned.
Yeah.
On the offensive side, and Robert Jr. Should be at least a similar offense and firepower with better defense and better pitching. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Love
and the
that.
offseason's not over yet.
Yeah. Can we talk some college hoops?
I think so.
Because last Saturday was unreal. I feel bad. Obviously, college football dying off a couple weeks ago. The NFL leading towards the Super Bowl. There has been some awesome college basketball, and what for those people to come in last weekend was incredible. I'll just go over some of the games.
I guess there actually, if I could talk about two games that I remember watching, where I was left like, wow.
Yeah.
The first game I wanted to mention was the Holy War.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to mention 43.
Oh yeah. It's time we start having a conversation about this freshman class. It is one of the best freshman classes we've had. Obviously, you mentioned AJ. I'm a butcher. Is it
I think
DeBasante?
it's
DeBasante?
Devonta.
DeBonta, correct.
Devonta.
He had 43 in the Holy War against Utah, led them to a 91-78 win. We had Keaton Wagler
He's
with
unbelievable.
Illinois walking into
Just an
Mackey Arena,
insane win.
46 points. And then we had a guy who somehow didn't pull out a win, Kingston Fleming's 42 points. We had three true freshmen walk into not just known unranked matchup, high level, high ranked matchups. Obviously, BYU Utah. That's more of a rivalry than a uh, high ranked matchup. Those three freshmen were incredible, Tanner.
Yeah, they were
Unreal.
unbelievable. Real quick thing about the Holy War. I just want to mention this. I love the Holy War as a game.
Yeah.
It's such an awesome name for a rivalry. My favorite thing about that, I don't know if you've noticed this. When they play this game, no matter what sport, no one wears white.
Yeah.
Utah is red, BYU is blue. No matter where it is, Utah's wearing red, BYU is wearing blue, and they just duke it out on the
Yeah.
field. For football, doesn't matter, red, blue. I think it looks so sharp on the field, on the court, whatever they're playing. Just no white. One side wears red, one side wears blue. We don't, and you just, no doubt on which side you're on, red versus blue. I think it looks amazing.
Yeah.
That's just my take on the whole. But like Iowa State, like if it's like no matter, Iowa's wearing black, Iowa State's wearing red. Let's do it. Like that to me is fun. That one Michigan State, we're gonna wear green, we're gonna wear blue.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think that's fun. No white involved. But the two games I was going to mention are one, two.
Yeah.
I mean, Illinois, is there a better win in college? I guess maybe Iowa State who did the same
Yeah.
thing, beat them down to the ground. But or maybe Wisconsin at Michigan as well was another win earlier this year. But Illinois marching into Mackey and coming out with a win, pretty damn impressive.
Yeah. I mean, especially the way they did it. This Wagler kid was a
24 in the first half, 46 for the game.
150th ranked recruit in this freshman class.
He was tremendous against Iowa when they played.
Insane.
Yeah, he's a good player, really good player.
Yeah, I loved it. I love seeing Purdue lose.
You and me both. I don't love seeing Illinois win, but I do love seeing Purdue lose.
Yeah, true.
And then the other game
before we move on from this
one.
Do you see all these is Illinois the most poorly media trained team in college sports?
They might be.
One, I can't remember the player's name, so that's my bad. But he basically said if I didn't play this game, I would have offed myself, using more colorful language. Another player was like, I just gave it to Wagler, and he just had F it, let the effing fly, and it was just funny. But move on to your next game. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Then the other game was Texas Tech Houston.
Yeah,
what a fantastic basketball game. There was a stretch in there between with obviously we mentioned Fleming's having 42. Obviously, you talk Texas Tech, you're gonna go right to JT Thomas.
So
there was a stretch where they were just going bucket for bucket. I mean, it was a tremendous basketball game. Going back and forth now. Obviously, there are some other players to mention. The guy I was thinking of, Donovan Atwell, he was 5 for 8 from 3, made a couple of huge shots when they needed him most. But obviously, JT Toppin with 31, Fleming's with 42. They were going back and forth. That was a tremendous basketball game. And then another one also, shout out. Obviously, it's been tough sledding, but I can't remember his first name, but Bruce Pearl's son.
Stephen
Pearl.
Yeah, getting a big win.
Getting a big first win in his tenure at Florida. Grass isn't always greener there, Mr. Boogie Fland. Florida has been brutal this year.
I love it. And another freshman I kind of want to shout out, a guy that's not getting as much respect. I'm a I'm gonna show him some love. Darius Acuff Jr. From Arkansas has been playing crazy. He belongs in my personal opinion, obviously a little bias here. He belongs in the conversation with the Darren Pattersons, the DeBasante, or however you say his name.
DeBonsa.
DeBonsa, the
Cam
Boozer,
Boozer. We didn't even mention Cam
um,
Boozer in our freshman
just
class.
absolutely crazy. But Acuff Jr., leading Arkansas, 20 points, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, just an absolutely bucket for Coach Cal, always producing those elite guards. But Saturday was absolutely incredible. Kobe, freshman, doesn't have the numbers that you'll see from the guys we previously mentioned, but he is an absolute workhorse. I want to talk about this game because obviously it's being talked about in mainstream media. Tennessee beating Bama by 6. Obviously, we could talk about this game, but the conversation continues with the NCAA having no idea what to do as a G League starter who you can vote for to be a starter in the All Star game in the G League. Charles Bediako gets some run in this one. And I don't know about you, Tanner, but when I see those guys, James Nanji and Bediako, got valuable minutes, G League, I expect them to just come in and just dominate. We haven't really seen that. Bediako probably had the best performance that we've seen, but he only had 13 points. Talk to me about that whole situation and how screwed up the NCAA is.
Obviously, I haven't seen one person be like, "This is good."
Yeah,
Everyone is like, "This is a disaster." However, they're all bad.
yeah,
Like you said,
it is very fun.
Why is it so bad? Like maybe we're just making an issue out of something that's a non-issue. Like, sure, you can come play. You suck, dude. Like
there's a reason you need.
Like yeah, like this guy Bediako or whatever. Like
Yeah,
I guess he had he had 13 points. They didn't win, but like it's not like he came in and scored 46 like like Wagler or 43 like the bond, like 13 points off the bench. Like it shouldn't happen. It absolutely shouldn't happen. I think we may have talked about it in the previous. There's no organization more in need of a department of common sense than the NCAA to look at someone and be like, "Hey, you play in the G League? You could be voted on to make the All Star game of the G League. Yeah, you can't play in college."
Yeah.
And they ask why, you'd be like, "Why do you think, man?
Yeah.
Just look at this. This is crazy."
Yeah.
And obviously they don't have that, but maybe we're just making an issue out of something that ain't an issue because they ain't really affecting the game all that much.
Yeah. And also want to shout out Tennessee basketball Twitter handler because obviously got a huge win. Had Delaware Bluecoats where Bediako played in the G League saying you're next. Absolutely love it. And that's why college sports is the best. But we had an absolute banger on Saturday. Come around yesterday, Monday, first big Monday. Awesome. Well, what
didn't
was
start out
expected to be an
awesome.
awesome double slate, Louisville, Duke. That one was kind of highlighted by Boozer, who we've talked about, or we haven't talked about, but I think this is a good spot too, because he is Mr. Do It All. I think he leads the team in points, rebounds, and assists, had 19, 10, and 4 on 50% shooting. But this game was never in question, and it's because another freshman, Mikael Brown Jr., struggled horribly. 7 points on 1 for 13.
Yeah, look, it's one of those games where Louisville stuck around. I think Duke made a run at the end of the first half. Led they led by they led by 10 at half, whatever. And then just in the second half, just completely took the game over and ran away with it. So didn't start out great, but boy, did it end great.
Yeah. And then the second game of the doubleheader, Arizona taking on.
Also, in our freshman talk, we didn't mention someone who I'm sure we'll mention soon with Arizona.
Yeah. Talk to me about him.
Kobe.
Kobe. Yeah.
I mean, he didn't necessarily light the box score on fire this game. That was more the Arizona guards who combined for
Berries and Bradley were phenomenal.
for a combined 55 points between them two. But Kobe's been one of the better freshmen as well.
Yeah.
I had to shout him out. But Arizona, I mean, we've seen Michigan falter. Arizona looks ironclad, Sam.
Yeah.
Ironclad.
I feel like we're not hearing.
Huge win.
We're not hearing. Now, I might be just skipping over the Arizona talk, but I feel like it's been, holy crap, Michigan is the greatest team.
And then here comes Wisconsin
and then
beats them in Ann Arbor.
And Arizona is just incredible. Like, Koa Pete was being talked about as like top lottery pick, no big deal. And I feel like we're not giving the respect to the whole roster. Like you said, their two guards were phenomenal this game. It's really the reason why they won this game. But since conference play started, they just have been kicking everybody's ass. Utah 97-78, Kansas State 101-76, TCU 86-73. Struggled a little bit with Arizona State, but bounced back. UCF 84-77, Cincinnati 77-51, West Virginia 88-53, and then got a win against BYU, highlighted by a potential number one pick. Debansa nailed it, but he struggled.
He did.
And I think that is a test
6 for 24 from the
Burries
field.
And Bradley defensive game made Debansa absolutely uncomfortable. 6 for 24, 1 for 8, and 3 personal fouls. Obviously, did get them. I mean, he still played 35, but when you're playing with 3 fouls, that limits your aggression a little bit, and I think Arizona took advantage of that.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
You mentioned the talk. Yeah, like you said, a lot of Michigan, a lot of Iowa State when they went out and beat Purdue. They obviously faltered a little bit. Michigan lost to Wisconsin. Arizona just steadily the best team in college basketball right now.
Yeah, and one last thing. While Debansa wasn't his usual self, we got to talk about, I believe it's Robert Wright the third.
Yes.
Looked horrible.
Yes, he did.
3 for 16, being the number 2 option in a big game against number 1 at home. You can't have that happen, but they put up a fight. They went on a crazy run. Questionable refereeing, as it is in every close game in college basketball. But that game was phenomenal, and it just keeps going. You'll know the result of this one, but we got Nebraska, Michigan playing right. Wednesday, not a ton of great games, but then this weekend, I believe Vandy Ole Miss, that's a top 25 matchup. Then Saturday we have, let's see here, BYU Kansas is up, Kentucky Arkansas, obviously Coach Cal. Then Sunday we have Alabama, Florida, and then Illinois, Nebraska. So super fun. College basketball is here. It's been a really fun year so far, and it's going to come down the wire. There hasn't really, Arizona seems to slowly separate themselves from the rest of the pack, but like I said, they haven't really played a ton of the top dogs in the Big 12.
So I say they got the second to last game of on their schedule is they got the Iowa State. So
yeah,
that'll be obviously a big matchup.
Yeah, that's kind of a brutal Are you looking at their
I
schedule?
was earlier. I'm not
So
currently.
they go at Arizona State versus Okie State, then at KU versus Texas Tech versus BYU, at Houston, at Baylor versus Kansas versus Iowa State.
Woo!
That's where they will be tested. But college basketball, it's here.
It's the
It's
best,
fun.
man. It
And
is the absolute best.
about
Keep G League players out of the game, but other than that, it's the absolute best. But at the same
again,
time, who
not
cares?
really
Yeah, they
playing
stink.
great. But anything else for episode 201?
I don't think so. I think we hit the major things here. Um, we have a new cover athlete for MLB The Show.
Yeah. Well,
Sorry, we have a cover
cover
athlete for MLB The
athlete.
Show. It's a repeat cover athlete because in this era of MLB of MLB, all the good players are going to sign with the Dodgers, and then all of the branding is going to be the
Mm-hmm.
Yankees. And if you don't root for the Dodgers or the Yankees, you just are thrown aside.
Yep. Aaron Judge, the cover athlete once again. But I think that is going to
I
wrap it
think
up
so.
for episode 201. Talked a lot of ball this episode, from football to basketball. We talked about a little bit of baseball even, but the clock has run out on this one. Follow the pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X at crunchtime_pod. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell so you never miss another episode at Crunch Time with the N3262 on YouTube. But the clock has run out on this one, but we'll see you on the next one.